Hey guys, it's your boy Manny here, talking about things about construction and financing here. I'm going to be talking about a specific program today called PACE Financing. There's different companies who offer the PACE program. I'm not going to talk about all the companies, but I'm going to be talking about the program in itself. Now, why? Why am I talking about this program? Well, there are homeowners who get a lack of information when signing up for this program, and they tend to be devastated by the time they have to make a payment or anything like that. So before I get to all the negative parts of it, which is mostly the lack of information a homeowner gets from the program, because there's a certain way you pay it. It's not like a regular credit loan. It's a lot more different than that. So let me talk about what the PACE program is. What does it stand for? Property Assessed Clean Energy. It's mainly used as a lending source of using your home's equity to get funds to do a construction project, such as windows, roofs, attic insulation, air conditioning, things like that. Plumbing issues. There's a lot of things that go on with the home nowadays, especially if it's really, really old. So I'm actually passionate about explaining it. I'm not passionate about the program itself, but I'm passionate about explaining it. Reason being is because I've encountered a lot of homeowners who've just been so screwed on this program, not because it's a bad program, but because people do a bad job explaining it. I'm not gonna call these companies out. I'm not gonna have you running scared or calling companies out or anything like that. But anyways, I'm here to just give you guys a layman's terms understanding about the program. Okay. Again, it's a form of using, it's a loan that you use through your home's equity. And yes, you pay back differently. You pay back a lot differently than you do your traditional loans. A traditional loan, what usually happens is that you use your credit score, right? And that credit score defines what your loan amount is going to be, or whether you get approved for whatever loan amount you're trying to acquire. Okay? So your credit score, you can use your credit score nowadays to get a personal loan to get a construction project done in your home. But what if you have bad credit? What if you have student loans you haven't paid? What if the pandemic put your business out under or something like that, and you just have no credit because you've been utilizing it to stay afloat? There's a lot of situations like that, okay? So if you use a PACE loan, it doesn't reflect on your credit. That's why people are intrigued by it. And then also the way how you pay it back. There are some ways to get tax benefits on it, but I'll explain that later. Typically, anything like that, you want to see your CPA. I'll just leave it there. You want to see your CPA when it comes to these things. But the PACE program was started when Obama took office. I'm not sure which year he did it. I'll try to find the video on that later on, and I'll try to leave the link below for you as well. Because it's a legal program. It's just if you sign somebody for this program and you don't tell them how to pay it back, it can be a nightmare. It can be a real nightmare. So let's explain it. Well, actually, let's do this first. I got a lot to cover here, guys. A lot to cover here. This program, I'm telling you, it's a good program. It's a really good program, especially if you want to get some stuff done in your house. You know, or if it's a house that you've recently inherited, something like that. So I'm gonna go ahead here and show you a video of a person who's complaining about the PACE program. Okay, and what I did here was I actually typed in PACE program California here on YouTube, and the first thing that popped up here was a homeowner complaining about it. I didn't even put bad reviews on it. I just put PACE program California, and immediately there was a bad review on top. This is from November 14th, 2017 here, and it looks like it's a local news segment here. So let's go ahead and I haven't seen it yet, so it's about 4 minutes long. I will get through the gist of it. If it doesn't make sense at some point in time, I'll go ahead and just close it out here. But let's just go and see what this is all about here. What their insight is, or let's just watch it.
I was scared. How am I going to pay this? It's a county-approved program that's supposed to help you pay for energy-efficient home improvements. But a Team 10 investigation found some homeowners who blame the program for big tax increases that they can't pay, and even the possibility of losing their homes.
Our investigator, Melissa.
Now, a lot was just said in that first part there. Yeah, it's supposed to be used as a, you mainly use as a tool, but now she goes to like right away to losing your house. Now, why would someone lose their house? I'm guessing it's the lack of information they're getting, or they were probably told something in the beginning that wasn't true. So let's go ahead and see what they're saying here.
It sounds like there's a certain group of people that are falling victim to this.
And Steve and Kim, we are talking about the elderly. The program is called PACE, which allows you to pay the loan through your property taxes. It's been up and running here in the county for more than 3 years, close to 14,000.
See there, property assessed clean energy, it's an acronym, guys.
And properties have this type of financing, but one consumer advocacy group says they have more than a dozen complaints from homeowners about people who aren't telling the truth about it.
Maria Silva's Del Cerro home is her life.
And it's my house for 28 years.
A home she's in danger of losing. It started with a man coming to her doorstep about 2 years ago. Maria said he offered a deal on home improvement projects like double-pane windows at first.
And I said, no, I'm not able.
But he was persistent. For Maria, it was more than a money problem.
So you can't see me, right?
No, I can't.
Maria is legally blind. She wanted
to wait for her.
Okay, what? Legally blind? Okay, now it's getting to the point where this is abuse. You're taking advantage of someone's disabled. I didn't think it would get this far. My God. Okay, well, the news is the news. I guess they want some shock factor there. Man, okay, that's messed up. That's so messed up.
her son.
And he told me, well, this promotion ends.
Did you tell him you were visually impaired?
Yes.
What was his response?
Don't worry, I'm going to read everything for you.
She didn't want to miss out.
And he said, no more than $6,000.
That's a $6,000 per year increase to her tax bill, so she moved forward. But when she got the bill, it showed an increase of more than $11,000 this year.
It seems very predatory.
On top of
Okay, they show some figures, okay? They showed some figures. Now, how are you supposed to pay it back? I'm going to explain that. I'll touch on it a little bit right now. But the arrangement of the payback is done through your property taxes. Now, some of you might say, well, I own a house. I don't pay my property taxes traditionally. I pay it with my mortgage. Now, that is called an impound account. The impound account basically adjusts your biannual or yearly payment of your property taxes into a monthly payment adjusted onto your mortgage. Okay? If I lost you there, then my friend, it's going to be a little hard for you to own a home. I'm just messing with you. But if I can reiterate that one more time, basically, your property taxes, we all pay property taxes. We can't get away from it. But no matter what, it's being routed through there. That's how you pay it back with the PACE program. So if you get your property taxes once or twice a year, you pay it biannually or annually, then your monthly payment of your estimate for your PACE program is due times 12, that monthly payment times 12, or monthly payment times 6 twice a year. Maybe she didn't explain that. Maybe he showed figures without interest, but from, I think, 7 to, I'm not sure what that number was again, but to jumping to 11,000 from a single figure number in the beginning to a double figure, that's just too much.
says the company who upgraded their AC never removed the old one like promised.
It kind of seems like some shady things happened to my mom.
This is a problem.
This type of financing is made possible through PACE, which stands for Property Assessed Clean Energy. Carolyn Riley with Elder Law and Advocacy has heard of deception with this program.
So they're telling them it's a free product, it's a free government program.
She says loans are approved for seniors on fixed incomes who can't afford them, and she's handling many cases from the elderly who say
Okay, I'll stop it right there. It's not a free government program. There's nothing free about it. That's one myth that a lot of people think that the PACE program is that just because it was put out by Obama that it's free. No, it's not. It's a way for you to pay for home improvement projects by not using your credit. It's using your home equity. That's why you're using your property to assess it and then implementing clean energy such as air conditioning, windows. The acronym kind of speaks for itself in a way.
Say financing wasn't explained.
They're desperate because at some point it's going to lead to foreclosure for them.
I don't know.
This woman didn't want to use her name, but she and her husband live in this Poway home.
We wound up with.
Okay, now, why would someone lose their home? Because this is acting as a lien against your property. Not that it's something derogatory to begin with. I know a lien sounds bad, but we all have things against our home, such as water, sewage, things like that. If you don't pay those, they can potentially somewhat put a lien on your house until you pay it back. Not that they can take away your house, but in this case, you're purposely putting something into your property taxes, making an arrangement. And depending on what the fine print says, they will have an arrangement to take away your home if you don't pay perhaps a certain amount of your PACE loan that you've unbeknownly signed up for.
The $40,000 bill.
She says A1 Solar sold them on solar panels. She had no idea a lien would be placed on her home in addition to increased taxes. She also alleges something even more surprising.
Let's just stop it right there. She had no idea there would be a lien against her home. Again, I knew that would pop up. Lack of information. Whoever the contractor was, he did not tell her that we're going to put a lien against your home if we do this project. Now that's something you have to get out right away. Whenever I suggest or they suggest I use a pay program, I always tell them, hey, there's going to be a lien against your house using this program. Not that it sounds I know it sounds negative, but it's basically it acts as a lien in a way. Not that it's a direct lien, but it acts as a lien.
I was not happy with the salesman coming in and going to the computer and signing Jim's name to the documents.
Another thing, man, there's just red flags all over the place. So yeah, a contractor can't sign your name for you. So I've almost got caught in this once actually, and she really, it was weird when it was someone who was disabled, and she told me, she's like, hey, would you mind signing this for me? Because she had arthritis, she told me. And then basically I had to call the office and yeah, they told me not to do anything. So something that I could have gotten in real serious trouble for. But even in that excuse, yeah, you can get in serious trouble, let alone doing it with intent.
I don't think Jim fully understood.
Michelle Glenn is their caretaker and also signed on with A1 Solar.
It does say that it would go on your property tax. When did you not realize that in the beginning?
No, because he rushed us through it. He says, oh, everything is fine.
I called the salesman they say went to their home. He told me he had nothing to do with A1 Solar. Before I could ask any more questions, he hung up. I searched the contractor state license board website. It shows A1 Solar's license was suspended for multiple complaints, including misrepresentation to obtain a contract. A lawyer for the company says they are now out of business.
If there are bad apples in the barrel, you need to get them out of the barrels.
Supervisor Diane Jacobs says the PACE program has generated about $400 million in projects and has created thousands of jobs.
Will the county continue with the PACE program?
We will continue with the PACE program because overall it's been very successful.
But these three women disagree, saying it only helped them get way over their heads in debt.
Supervisor Diane Jacobs says she's only received a few complaints about the PACE program and believes it works for many people.
Okay, I'll go ahead and stop it right there. Yeah, you can see how probably thousands have benefited from this, but there's a few that have been horribly affected as well. And it only takes just a few to really, start calling this program out. And it's not a bad program. It's the lack of information these people are getting. I feel really bad for them too. I'm going to go ahead and dive deeper into it now. Give me a second here. Okay guys, so I have an example here for you. This is an example for a home that's valued at $350,000. I'm going to show you how you can get approved for this loan or what qualifies you for this loan. So let's just get through the basics first, okay? Mainly, you have to be the owner of the home. So you cannot be... okay, my cats are going crazy right now. Let me just close the door here for a second. Of course, when you want to explain things, your life becomes chaotic all of a sudden. So, back to what we're saying here. If your home is valued at $350,000 and you want to qualify for a loan that's not credit based, okay, and you want some funds to do a home improvement project such as windows, roofs, your plumbing, things such as attic insulation, paint, air conditioning, things like that, a wide range of things. But remember, we got to find out what makes you qualified first. So the name of the game is equity. You got to have at least 10% equity to qualify for this program. Now, let's show an example of that, or at least more. Let's just say that you bought a house at $350,000, and you put in, let's just say that you put a down payment of, $50,000. Okay, we'll use $50,000 for example. And let's just say that you've owned the house for at least 10 years and you've made a payment of, or let's just say you paid towards the house another $100,000, okay? So you have $150,000 of payments towards the house, okay? You paid that off towards the house. Let's go to our calculator real quick so we can try to get an example of what equity is, at least a good example. So let's just say my house is worth $350,000 here, 350. Let's go ahead and multiply this by 0.10%. Now I know that $35,000 is 10% of my home's equity as far as what its value is. Now the loan company typically appraises your value right there on the spot, whether it be via remotely or they send an appraiser to your home in case they need to get more value out of it. But what I know is that my 10% is at least $35,000, okay? Now I know that what I paid towards my house is a $50,000 down payment plus $100,000 towards my payment through the past 5 or 10 years, depending on how long I've been making payments. So I know I have plenty of equity here, okay? Let's use an example for somebody who doesn't have equity, and this is pretty simple here. It's really, really simple. Basically, if you're a new homeowner, okay, and you recently bought a house and you just moved in and you put 0 down payment, okay, most likely you're gonna owe exactly what the house is worth or what the funding amount was at the time, which is gonna be $350,000. Now, if your home value is at $350,000 and you owe $350,000, that will leave you with at least 0 equity, okay? Which we know that the funding amount applicable to you is 10%. You can only get qualified if you have 10% of your equity here, which you have 0 of here, which I'm circling over. Therefore, your loan amount will be 0. So the name of the game is equity. If you want to qualify for a PACE loan, you have to have equity. You have to have at least 10% equity, okay? Those numbers are universal. Those 10% translate to your home's value. So if your home is worth $200,000, you got to have at least $20,000 equity available, which is therefore 10%. In this case here, $350,000, you got to have at least $35,000 of equity available. Therefore, it translates into 10%. It's not too complicated. I know the qualification process seems a little burdenous, and it can be burdenous or a burden upon the homeowner, because not only do you have to have 10% equity, but you got to show proof that you can make that monthly payment. Now, the monthly payment is generated upon your loan amount. You have to pick the term. You're picking the term, whether it be 5 years or perhaps 30 years. Now, I spread caution upon those homeowners who pick 30 years because my reason behind that is I have to talk with you and I have to ask you, hey, are you capable of paying that off, or if not, earlier? If you're not, or if I sense that a homeowner is incapable of paying that loan, I have to step back as far as the contractor, because I'm responsible for signing you up on that loan. So just like you saw in the news there, I have to be aware of what your financial situation is by asking you the questions. Asking you questions whether or not you can afford this payment program. Remember, it's important that you have equity. It's important that you understand that the equity is routed onto your property taxes. The way you pay it back is on your property taxes. If you pay your property taxes biannually, yearly, you'll be paying it the same way, adjusted by your monthly payment times 6 months or 12 months, because you're paying it biannually or yearly. If you pay it with your mortgage, which is monthly, you will see that monthly payment brought upon your mortgage if you adjust your impound account. Now, you have to talk to your mortgage company to adjust that impound account. Now, a lot what I just said right now is probably about what 90% of contractors who have availability to PACE programs don't go over with you. I go over with this with homeowners. Reason being is because I need to know that you're capable of making this payment. If you're capable of making this payment, routed through the way that you have your your property taxes systematically paid for, then I'm comfortable. If you can break this down monthly, yearly, and biannually, and you're comfortable with all three sectors of that payment, I'm comfortable moving forward with this. Now, on top of that, the icing on the cake is that the loan company that I'm working with, they have to have an underwriter that goes over this with you. Now, if you're working with a contractor who's using a PACE program, remember, Property Assessed Clean Energy, if they're using that program and they don't have the associate from the loan company going over with you who is classified as an underwriter, if that person does not go over that loan with you, there's something missing from that loan program. Either they're trying to tackle it all by themselves, which is not the usual custom when it comes to PACE loans. The company who's offering that PACE loan needs to go over it with you independently. Now, typically, I like to do going over that process while the contractors are on the job site, because if you have any questions, you can ask the contractor, who can probably perhaps relate that question to the underwriter more accurately. Whereas a situation where you're trying to ask an underwriter a question and perhaps you don't know how to answer that, the contractor can be there to relate that question for you to the underwriter, so that all parties basically can be in a mutual understanding. Once you have your loan amount figured out by the underwriter, well, actually should be figured out between you and the contractor. It should be verified by the underwriter to let you know that the numbers are accurate as the contractor has stated, and that you can also go over the monthly programs, or if not biannually or or annually at that time. Now, typically the time and arrangement of your first payment does not happen right after the job is done. Typically, this will happen perhaps 6 months to a year after the project is done. Reason being because it became routed on your property taxes. So I'm gonna end it right here, guys. I'm gonna do a part 2 segment of this, and hopefully I can try to make some sense of everything. My cats are going crazy again, and I can close it here and try to open part 2 on making more sense about this program for you guys, so that you guys can get, your projects funded. You guys can get your windows, you get your roofs, especially here in California with all the fires that are going on. It's important that homeowners know that they have control over their property as far as funding projects that they need. So with that said, like and subscribe if I did a good job explaining this program for you guys, and I'll be explaining more programs in relation to this, as far as some other programs that have equity lines of credit, and hopefully I can give you guys more insight on these programs, and and you guys can improve your properties, your homes, things like that, and such. So take care. I hope I can give you guys more insight in the future, and stay tuned.